At the start of the movie, we are shown Annie Walker having sex with Ted, who is more interested in having fun than committing to a relationship. Annie is a single woman in her mid-30s, having lost her bakery during a recent recession. Her savings were wiped out and her boyfriend subsequently left her. As she leaves his house, we see that she is dismal and wants something more from the relationship. In the next scene, we see her with her friend Lillian in a restaurant where they talk about their relationship problems. Lillian advised her to quit visiting Ted and hope to find someone who loves her dearly. We are then shown Annie working at a jewelry store. There, a couple came looking to buy an engagement ring. Seeing them blooming in love, she told the lady never to trust anyone, especially the one you're in a relationship with. The awkward exchange left the couple confused, and they walked out of the store infuriating her boss. Later that day, she arrived home and we see that she shares an apartment with British siblings Gil and Brian. She later visited her friend Lillian at night, who informed her she just got engaged to her boyfriend Doug and would want her as a bridesmaid at her wedding. Though thrilled by the news, Annie couldn't help but feel sorry for her imperfect life. On the day of the engagement, she visited her mom with whom she planned to go, but was left to go alone as her mom had to attend an AA meeting even though she's not an alcoholic. At the engagement party, Annie meets Lillian's bridesmaid. Lillian's long-married and downbeat cousin Rita, Lillian's naive newlywed co-worker Becca, Doug's blunt, foul-mouthed but friendly sister Megan, and the wealthy and snobby Helen, Doug's boss trophy wife. Annie and Helen didn't get along as they instantly become jealous of each other's friendship with Lillian. In the next scene, we are shown Annie being called to give a speech as the maid of honor. After her speech, Helen, who didn't like that she spoke highly of her friendship with Lillian, stepped out and took the mic from her. They went back and forth giving speeches to upstage the other. Annie meets with Lillian and asks why she was letting a total stranger like Helen be her bridesmaid, and Lillian encouraged her to spend time with Helen to know her better. We are then shown Annie on her way home expressing her disgust about making friends with Helen, leading her to speed drive. She was then stopped by a police officer, Nathan Rhodes, who said to give her a ticket. She tried convincing him that she wasn't drunk, but he insisted on giving her the ticket. On checking her ID card, he realized they live on the same street. There, she explained she once had a bakery on that street, and this made Nathan excited as he loved her cake. With this, he tore the ticket and let her go free, recommending a place she can get her brake lights fixed. We are then shown a montage of Annie baking a petite cake, hoping to get the motivation to start all over. In the next scene, we see Annie and Ellen aggressively playing tennis as they hit the ball at each other. To bond as bridesmaid, Annie took the ladies to a Brazilian steak restaurant. Later, they visited an upscale bridal shop where Ellen uses her influence to gain entry as Annie failed to make a reservation. While at the shop, Annie tried hard to ensure their choice of gown was cheap enough for her to afford. While trying on the gowns, the ladies except Helen, who chose not to eat at the restaurant, began vomiting and experiencing uncontrollable diarrhea from food poisoning. Lillian emptied her bowel in the middle of the street while wearing a wedding dress, while the rest of the ladies messed up the restroom with vomit and stews. Becca, one of the bridesmaids, proposed that Annie goes out on a date with a man she will set her up with, so she can have a date for the wedding. When she arrived at her date's house, he welcomed her coldly and went upstairs, leaving her with his son. She later went up to meet him and there she overheard him saying she isn't pretty, leading her to leave the house dejected. In the next scene, we see her at Ted's house. There, she requested to be her date at the wedding, but he refused, stating he doesn't want to explain their relationship to people. We then see her in the supermarket, and there, she met the patrol officer Nathan, and they spent the day talking and having fun. Next, we see Annie sending a mail to the girls suggesting they have a bachelorette party at Lillian's parents' lake house, but her choice was overruled in favor of a Las Vegas trip planned by Helen. Unable to afford a first-class ticket and too proud to allow Helen to pay, Annie booked a ticket in economy class. While in the plane, Annie, who is scared of flying, meets with Lillian and Helen, and there, Helen gave her a sedative and scotch to calm her massive fear of flying, and this led her to hallucinate, ending in a paranoid outburst, which led to her being apprehended by a US Air Marshal. The plane made an emergency landing and the ladies took a bus back home. On their way, Annie apologizes, but Lillian decides Helen should take over planning the bridal shower and wedding. Dejected, she called Nathan to spend the evening with her. There, they talk and the night ended with them having sex. After the romantic night together, Nathan surprises her with baking supplies and asks her to bake a cake together. But Annie is annoyed that he plans to fix her and leaves. In the next scene, Annie is still at work in the jewelry store, where she was met by a teenager who needed a necklace for her best friend. Annie said her best friend did not exist, and this led to them having a profanity-laden argument, which led to her being dismissed from her job. When she got home, she got kicked out by her roommate, forcing her to move in with her mother. In the next scene, we see her at Helen's house in Chicago for the extravagant bridal shower, which is fresh themed. An idea of Annie's that Helen had previously rejected. After Helen upstaged Annie's heartfelt gifts by gifting Lillian a trip to Paris, And enraged, Annie throws a tantrum and destroys the outside decor. Angry that Annie has been ruining every event at her wedding, Leonard kicks her out of the shower and instructed that she doesn't attend the wedding. Driving home, Annie's still broken tail lights resulted in a car accident, but the other driver flees. Nathan arrives on the scene and admonishes Annie for not fixing her tail lights or taking responsibility for her life. Ted then arrives to give Annie a ride, causing Nathan to storm off. On their way, Ted suggests Annie perform oral sex on him in the car. She demanded he let her get out and she walks home, ending their relationship. In the next scene, we see Annie withdrawn and sulking at home, but Megan arrived and motivated her to take control of her life. Annie resumed baking and got her car fixed and moved to make amends with Nathan, who ignores her. On the day of the wedding, Helen appeared at Annie's doorstep begging for help finding Lillian, who has disappeared. Helen apologizes to Annie, revealing that people only involve her in their lives because she's good at planning events. But she does not have any true friends and she finds herself alone a lot. With Nathan's help, they find Lillian at her apartment, having become overwhelmed by Helen's extravagant wedding planning and fear of living a single life. Annie reconciled with Lillian and resumed her role as the maid of honor. After the wedding, Annie and Helen reconciled and agreed to become friends. Annie also reconciles with Nathan and they ride away in his police car. Subscribe for more videos like this. Leave a comment behind and pound on the notification icon. Thanks for watching.